Hello, everybody. Welcome to Video Game Choo Choo Podcast. We're here. We're talking about video games and breaking news. Breaking news. We got Rose on here, of course, real quick before we get to the breaking news.
Hi.
Rose, you're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Spencer, you're also here.
Yes, I am.
And to talk about this here, there's a new render of Waluigi where he looks extremely. It's a perverted image. This is a pervert image that they have.
I would say all images of Waluigi are pervert images, but okay.
This is the one. This is the one here.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, that's highly perverted.
Mm-hmm.
His ass is out and everything.
Yeah, he's extremely he's popping it. He's got the rose. His tongue is out.
I gotta tell you right now, I think ever since like Waluigi started becoming like a major meme, I feel like it's leaked into his design in just unfavorable ways. It's really just shaking my head.
I was definitely a big Waluigi fan before parts of the Smash community like really wanted him to be a playable character in Smash and took that to the nth degree of absurdity, but since that's happened, he's kind of fallen out of favor with me.
It's such a shame. It's such a shame, isn't it?
They also just haven't really done anything with him.
No. When was he in a game last? Probably Mario Tennis, the last Mario Tennis, or Mario Party, whichever one of those came out.
He's in Smash.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. Waluigi. Folks, it's been a week since we last convened. It's been a bit since I've convened with you two. I'll be honest. I'm gonna try my best to be, involved. But I did get my second shot yesterday, so I am kind of, in and out. So if I just start if I lean over and start drooling or something, you could tell me, "Hey, wake up, pal." No, I'm just kidding. I'll be okay. Yeah, today was kind of rough. I slept most of the day. I felt like dog do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm normal now. I was thinking about skipping, but I feel a little bit more normal. I'm still kind of tired, but it's definitely better than I was feeling earlier. And all of you listening, I hope that you're going out there and getting vaccinated when you can. Of course, if you're listening from outside the US, I hope that you all get your vaccine stuff as soon as possible, because our stupid fucking country has to bogard shit because they're scumbags. But I'm hoping that clears up sooner than later, and that everyone is safe.
At the day after this episode comes out, I'll be getting my second shot. So,
well, I hope it doesn't wreck your day or anything like that. I hope you feel at least a little normal.
I mean, the first shot was fairly normal, so. People keep saying, oh, the second shot's where it really hits you, but we'll see.
I will say I definitely felt worse on my second shot, but, I mean, I, actively slept through it, because I would, wake up and be in pain, and I'd just be like, fuck it, I'm going back to sleep. And I just did that, 4 times in a row.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the first one I was just I have, a headache and my arm hurts, but, I can still, do shit. But you're not here for this bullshit. You don't want to hear about this, right, listener? You want to hear us talk about games. And folks, there's been some news, there's been some games that we've been playing. There's all kinds of stuff that we could talk about. So, how about we start off with you, Spencer, because it's been a hot minute since you've been on. What do you want to talk about to start us off?
So, I want to talk about Elite Dangerous, one of my favorite games. It's probably it's in the top 5 games on my Steam library that I've played the most. I have over 600, 700 hours now. For people who aren't aware, Elite Dangerous is a space simulator flight game where you fly spaceships and do missions, and you can commit space crimes and be a space pirate.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It's not as imaginative or creative as, say, No Man's Sky, but its flight model is way more realistic. So for me, flying the ships is more fun. on the 17th for the PC, they're releasing their next expansion, Elite Dangerous Odyssey, which does feature the ability to be a human person and walk outside, because up until now you've just either been able to pilot a ship or land on a planet and pilot a little surface recon vehicle, and that's been it. But now they're actually giving FPS elements to Elite Dangerous, where you get to walk out and be a little human person in a spacesuit and shoot other human people and commit crimes with your body instead of with your spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to playing that. And in preparation of that, I've been playing Elite Dangerous a lot more.
Okay.
It's pretty fun, except the problem that I've run into is that many players have a home system where you store all of your ships, because you can store your ship in any spaceport in the galaxy, and the galaxy's a 1-to-1 scale model with the real, our real world galaxy. So the distances are all not every star is exactly identical, because there's no we don't have all of the astronomical data about our galaxy, but many of the stars in Elite Dangerous around Earth, they did just 1-to-1 port over the astronomical data that we do have. So it's pretty good if you want to just fly around the galaxy. But so anyway, you can store your ships in any spaceport, but if you fly somewhere else and you want your a different ship, it takes real world time to ship it there. And depending on how far it is, it can be up to 72 hours.
Oh God.
So most people typically have a home system and a home station. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't played the game in a couple years, and I came back to find out that my home system had been taken over by a player faction. Each system in the game has different little minor factions that vie for control of the system, and the factions can have different governments, which dictates what kinds of materials you can get from those factions. And this player faction it's not like a guild or a free company that you would have in a typical MMO where there's a system where you sign up or you can create one. Mm-hmm. Elite Dangerous does have a system like that, but it's called Squadrons, which is a fairly new system. Before Squadrons was in the game, they had player factions where you have to go on, I think it's either the forums or there might be a form you have to fill out on their website. But you actually have to submit the player faction idea to the devs, and then they have to manually implement it into the game. And then once the player faction's in, it works just like a regular NPC minor faction, except they have the name of and the parameters that you requested. If you want the faction to be a corporate faction or a communist faction, they can put that in, because that affects how they interact with other factions. So all this is to say that a player faction that I didn't know about had taken over my system, and I was kind of pissed, so I had been running missions for a different faction in my system to try to get their influence up, doing a bunch of space crimes illegal black box recovery and stealing planetary scan data from bases and mm-hmm. blowing up pirates, stuff like that.
Right.
And I eventually got this minor faction's influence high up enough that it was draining the rival player faction's influence. And when two factions, the controlling faction and another faction, are close enough in influence, they have a conflict, and what conflict they have is determined by whether they share the same type of government or not. If they share the same type of government, they have an election. But if they don't share the same type of government, they have a war. And so the faction that I was supporting was not the same type of government, so they ended up going to war. And the only way that you can help your side win is you have to go to these conflict zones and do a space battle against their ships. And for the first, and the wars are a round of 7. It's best of 4 basically. So if you win 4 days in a row, then the war is over, but it's basically a maximum of 7 days. And
Mhm.
in day one of the war, my team was winning because I was going out in my kill everything ship and shooting them all. And then I started playing Nier Automata and just completely like left them to their own devices. And they ended up, and I finished Nier Automata and came back, and they had lost the war. So I'm like, shit, because it's going to be a couple days before I can actually like incite another war.
Right.
But it's still a pretty fun game. John, you'll be interested to know that in Elite Dangerous, it is possible to make millions of dollars delivering literal shit across the galaxy.
I mean, garbage people get paid pretty well, so I'm sure that like, septic tank people probably get paid really well too.
What's funny is like every system has like a different sort of economy, and all systems generate bio-waste. But none of them want to buy bio-waste except for the agricultural systems because they need it for fertilizer.
Yeah,
so you can make money shipping bio-waste across the galaxy by selling it to agricultural systems.
Makes sense to me.
I've owned this game for like 6 years now or something, and I am scared to ever play it now after you talked about it. It's just
So I haven't actually. They did like an alpha. Like I said, this is so weird. So they called it an alpha, like alpha early access or whatever for the upcoming Odyssey expansion. But like the expansion's coming out on the 17th. It's currently like the 7th as of our recording this, which is like normally I think like there's an alpha and then there's a beta and then there's like a 1.0 release. But there's no beta period. They just called it an alpha, which is very weird to me. But one of the details they revealed about Odyssey is that it's going to have a new like onboarding section for players, and it's going to help like explain like because the original tutorial just kind of explains like flight controls to the player because back then that was the only thing you really needed to play the game was understanding how to fly your ship and then understanding how to go into Super Cruise and understanding how to land at a station. There you go. But with Odyssey, there's a whole bunch of new systems like getting out of your ship and walking around and like talking to people and turning in data and buying weapons and upgrades and stuff. And a cool thing, in my opinion, is that for a veteran player like me who's got 600 hours, I can still do that tutorial and get those like educational benefits of like being introduced to these new systems, but it's contextualized for my character as a flashback sequence, which I think is a very neat way to do that. I don't have to start over and create a whole new character in order to play this new tutorial. It's just like, oh, you want to revisit this part of your past that we're just putting in? It's just a nice little shortcut, but it's one I think's pretty neat.
Okay.
I mean, it all sounds neat, I think. I'm just overwhelmed.
It does seem like a very overwhelming thing.
Yeah.
It is an entire world, an entire economy, an entire ecosystem. You're just like thrust out there into the world.
There are people made to take advantage of that, like Spencer right here. Like he's got the mind, he's got the know-how.
I should stream it sometime. It's really fun.
Sure.
You can watch me do sicko shit like flying a 600-ton brick and drift it into a station without crashing. But yeah, I'm probably going to go back to playing it since I finished Nier Automata. So.
All right.
Oh yeah.
And you just recently finished that because we can kind of flow between this because Rose, you have been playing Replicant.
Yeah.
So we can kind of talk about that because, I played a little bit of Replicant, but, I've been focusing on other stuff because, I have to write the review and you're writing the review for Replicant. So you know how that all goes. But, yeah, Rose, talk about New Replicant for a bit. And then Spencer, you can talk about Automata as well.
All right.
Not much to say. I mean, I played Gestalt when it came out. Not when it came out. That's a lie. But in 2016 or something. and I really liked it, and this is basically that, but slightly worse since it's the little Twinkie guy instead of Papa Nier. And let me tell you, I thought I would be like, oh, this will be interesting to see the other's perspective, because we never got this version. There were always 2 versions. Replicant was in Japan before, and so was Gestalt, I believe. But I thought, oh, it'll be nice to see the other side. But really, I just spend the entire game going, damn, think how much funnier this would be with a 40-year-old man. Like, every scene is just like that. Like, these things happen to this guy, or Vice says something, and you're just like, oh, this is so much funnier if he's saying this to a 40-year-old man. But, I mean, it's still very good. It's still that game that I really like. I think that the redone music is mostly good. There's some bits where I'm just sort of like, oh, I feel like the not lo-fi, but, obviously it was lower fidelity audio back then. I felt like that almost helped it in some ways. So like hearing like the reorchestrated or whatever Kaine, for example, song, Salvation, is like, it's good. It's still good. It still accomplishes what it's supposed to do, but it's very much like, oh man, but I remember when it sounded like a little janky, just a little one, and it was really, and that's how I feel about some of the things. Combat wise, this is actually something I can't tell if I think it's worse or not, actually. Because the thing about the combat in the original was, I think someone said this on Twitter, I can't remember who, but they said that the thing about Nier Replicant's gameplay, or Gestalt even, the original, was that I don't think it was particularly bad. I think it was completely serviceable, but it had like no animations to speak of because of the budget of the game and stuff like that. So like it gave this impression that there was like it was just very weak, very whatever. But like as I've been playing this, and like there's like not complex combos or anything like that, but like I remember being able to just sort of like go through everything pretty quickly, pretty easily, by using spears and stuff like that. And now like it's just like you have to use certain moves sometimes, like guard breaking seems to be more of a thing, stuff like that. I don't know how I feel about that. I've seen a lot of reviews talk about it as being the marriage of Replicant's combat with Automata improvements, and I cannot agree with that at all. I think that Automata's combat is much better, but it's the type of thing where I don't think Replicant's combat needed to be better. That's how I feel about it. Because ultimately, like, I think the purpose of Replicant, right, is to be this game that is critiquing other games, right? It's supposed to be critiquing like JRPGs or action RPGs specifically. And to be like, oh, but the gameplay wasn't sick as hell and made me feel cool is a really weird complaint to have with it, I think. But I totally get like for playability's sake, but I don't know if I feel like this did it for playability. Again, I think it's just the animations are so much better that people are fooled into it, if you know what I mean.
Like it's almost good enough to be really good, but not quite, so they're confused. I
don't know. It's just like, I feel like because the visuals are all on par with Automata, people go, oh, wow, okay. Because, like, you do flips and stuff. You do, like, dodges and, like, crazy spear, super fast stuff or whatever. But it's not platinum, right? Like, it's not platinum.
Nobody is.
Yeah, and you can feel that. And I think that's fine. I think it's probably, most people wouldn't notice it. But I think as someone who, like, I endure Drakengard 3, right? I endure games like that and I can get past it. I think, like, for this, like, I started playing on hard, which is what I played the original on. And I immediately turned it down, because I realized, like, oh, this isn't fun to deal with. And I feel like having more of a focus on that gameplay is a little bit of a disservice to it. But again, everything else is still there. All the, like, writing, the things that I loved, like the route separation. I'm only on towards the end of Route B because I've been busy with a few things. But, I mean, I know how it goes. I know there's a new ending now, that I'm interested to see. I think the only new thing that I've seen so far is the, new scenario they added. And basically how it works is they just slotted in a new chapter into the second half of the game, basically. So like the way Nier Replicant works is you play through the same game 4 times, right? It's when people said like, oh, this is what Automata is, this is actually that kind of, but it's so short because they cut out half the game or whatever when they do it. But anyways, there's a second half of Route A, and that's the part that you play over and over again. But they added in this whole weird side quest chain in the first act that was like this dude who is arguing with his wife or something like that, and you just do a side quest, or I guess a main quest, side quest or whatever, to help him find his wife. And he's the fast travel guy now, and he's just this guy who is just like unhinged. I don't know, he's just like always like, oh, I love my Snooky Pie or whatever, and then he like, but then they're always arguing and yelling at each other because they're straight people. I don't know, like but they added in these characters just to do like this weird bit in this new middle thing where you investigate a ship and fight a big super strong monster or whatever inside of it. It's a very weird put together thing. I think you can tell that it is adapted from like a short story. I think it is still good mostly, but it's the type of thing where it's like, of course this was in a world building side novelization and not the original work, which was much more cohesive. I don't think it's doing anything bad. Again, I don't think it's taking anything away, but it is this weird thing that's just sort of slotted in the middle of it. But that's pretty much the only thing that's changed. The side quests are still really annoying, as they were meant to be. The weapons are all the same. The main story is all the same. Again, I don't know what ending Ease looks like, but I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think I would like I don't know if I like Automata over this one. When Automata came out, I was like, I love Automata, but I love Gestalt more. But playing this again, and it's not Papa Nier, which is a little bit of a degree to it, but I'm thinking more about how good it is that Automata builds off of this. And I think if you like Automata, you'd really like this, just because it's like, you go, oh my god, this is where that came from, this is where these ideas started, right? This is where these themes were, this is like, oh, this is mirrored, like this is why Automata is the way it is. I think they're a really effective duology.
Okay. Neat. Spencer,
so you only got... Oh, sorry.
Spencer, tell us a bit about how you... were you going to ask me something, Rose? Or
yeah.
Okay, please, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you how far you got into it, because I know you didn't get very far at all.
Not very.
I was just curious.
I'm only a little bit after you have Kaine join you, I want to say.
Okay. So like 2/3 of the way through part 1, probably.
Oh, okay. All right. Spencer, why don't you tell us how you felt about playing through Automata?
I wish I had like a bunch of papers on my desk that I could just raffle, because I have like a notepad document here, and it's not, I can't shake this notepad and like show you like how many lines I have of notes.
Shuffle.
So, Nier Automata, what a game. I bought it the day it came out, and I originally, back in 2017, played through all of Route A, and then played the first couple bits of Route B, and then stopped. I didn't stop because I was annoyed that the game was asking me to play through the whole game again. I didn't stop because I thought that the hacking stuff that they introduced in Route B was annoying. I stopped purely because I hit that wall that I'm sure many people hit, where like I finished Route A pulling an all-nighter, and then it asked me like, hey, do you want to play Route B? Like, there's more to the story. And then I started it, and then I was like, I need to go to sleep, and then I just didn't have the energy to ever like boot the game up again. And I kind of just shelved it, and I kept wanting to go back to it because, as some people are aware, but I'll say this for the wider audience, the whole reason I ever bought Nier Automata was because my late friend who passed away in 2016 was a huge Drakengard Nier fan, and we kept getting information coming out about like, oh, Nier Automata's coming out, and they were like, this game is going to be big, just watch. And they would kept telling me Like, I remember when Drakengard 3 came out, and they kept telling me all the weird, fucked up shit that happens in that game, and it was great. So they never got to play Nier Automata, which was the game that they had been waiting for years to play. And so that's why I wanted to play it, to sort of, connect with them in that way. So last week, I finally decided that I was going to play Nier Automata because Replicant had come out and a bunch of people were playing Nier again. And I thought, I might as well. I've been saying, like, we do the 14 podcast, and they introduced like the Nier raids and Shadowbringers, and I kept saying, like, I gotta play Nier Automata. I said I would, and I did. I have done it now. As far as Route A is concerned, I don't really have much to say about Route A. I just have notes about like the overall gameplay. Getting on ladders really sucks in that game.
Fair.
Like, to the point where I was having to not walk up to ladders, I was having to jump to get the character to clamber onto the ladder in the way that I wanted, because like just trying to navigate to the ladder was just a bit annoying. And also, certain, like, there's a bunch of side scrolling sections which are really fun, but sometimes, especially in like the castle, the camera turns and pans around, and it can be frustrating, especially when it's also asking you to platform at the same time. Fishing. I love fishing in Nier Automata. I don't like how there isn't really a whole lot of feedback with fishing, because there were some cases where the pod would just be sitting in the water, bobbing up and down for like 12 minutes, and I kept thinking like it was broken or something. And there's not really a lot of feedback of like how many fish I have left to catch in a certain like fishing hole, which is maybe the point, but I did think it was funny how I fished out a pipe and then read the description and realized that it wasn't a pipe. It was actually a broken bazooka that just happened to look like a pipe. I also liked a thing that I did like about Automata in general is how, so I tried to do every side quest possible whenever they showed up, and I liked how doing the side quests would like eventually rewarded you with like easier methods for obtaining upgrade materials, because like one of the upgrade materials is a meteorite, which is very hard to like come across, but then eventually like there's a side quest where you help like a scientist robot like effectively build a rocket ship, and then you can just buy meteorites from him, which is really nice.
That little guy is so twisted. I forgot about him.
Yeah. It's what's funny is like he builds a rocket to go to the moon, and he's like, "Oh, we fucked up and failed. My rocket didn't reach the moon at all. It hit Mars instead, and I'm sad." And it's just very funny.
Yeah, I remember that.
A big thing. One of the side quests is in the bunker. There's a Yorha operative there, and she asks you like, hey, 2B, I know you were on that mission to go like, go to the abandoned factory. But like 11B was on your team, right? Like, and you have to tell her that, yeah, 11B got shot down. And she's like, oh, do you think you could go and like recover something of hers for me? Because she was like a big mentor to me. And so you have to actually go back to the abandoned factory where the game starts, and you can find 11B's body and her sword. 11B is actually like in that opening like shoot 'em up section. 11B is like the second Yorha soldier to get shot down, and you find like her diary basically, and it tells her that 11B, because this other character had been building up 11B as this like hardened, rugged soldier who's duty bound and very determined, and then her diary says that reveals that she was actually going to use the mission as a means of defecting from Yorha because she was really scared of dying. And 9S is like, oh man, that sucks. We can't tell her about this. Like, this is her idol. Her dreams are gonna be crushed. And 2B's like, no, we have to tell her the truth. She deserves that. And since I was playing as 2B at the time, you actually get an option of telling her the truth or just, omitting it. But since I was playing as 2B, I told the truth, and then like the music stopped, and it started playing this really creepy music. And the Yorha operative is like, haha, serves that bitch right. She was highly abusive to me, and that I'm so glad that she died a coward, afraid, and alone. And she starts laughing like a Dark Souls character, and I was like, fuck yeah, this game rules. And then she gives you her sword, which is okay.
That's how it goes. That's how it works.
Yep.
Okay.
Got to Route B. I will say the hacking is good, and anybody who dislikes it to the point of quitting the game, play on easy mode and then use the auto hack chip. Because I don't think, like, if you dislike the hacking that much, I don't think it's that bad enough to deprive you of the rest of the game. I really liked the hacking. I accidentally found out about, like, this feature of hacking where you can control the robots and, like, basically play as them. Because I tried to hack some other robot, and there was a different robot in the way. That's another problem with the hacking, is that sometimes the targeting, in general, the targeting is a bit of a thing you have to fight against. But I hacked a robot, and if you hack a robot without aggroing it, you can choose to, like, turn it to your side, or you can even just remote control it, which was neat. I only wish that there was, like, certain chips that made it so that it increased your hacking range or made you, like, less likely to be detected by robots, so it'd be easier to go into that sort of play style. But I liked hacking, and none of the shoot 'em up hacking sequences are really that difficult. But it's like Route B was fine. They changed enough where it didn't really just feel like I was playing the whole game over again. One of the things that Route B changes is whenever you go to a zone for the first time, instead of doing that thing where it does like a panning shot, various panning shots of the level, and then it shows up like the level name, like Desert Zone or Amusement Park or whatever, it instead plays what are called picture books in the Intel's menu, and it just plays like a little picture book. And one of the picture books, when you enter the amusement park for the first time, has my favorite line in the game. The whole picture book is like 4 lines, and it goes, "They were found by the machines. They called them treasures. Each treasure had a different shape. Each treasure had a different shape." And that one really stuck with me for the rest of the game. Because the picture book, like the animation itself, is just you have rows of robots, and each one has like a little shape on its body. One of them's like a sprout, one of them's a star, and the one in the center that it zooms in on has a heart, which is like, it's like the big heart-shaped void in the castle that's in the amusement park. It's sort of the visual parallel there. But that line about each treasure had a different shape kind of stuck with me, because it sort of indicates that, like, all of the little bands of robots that you meet in the game, like, what their treasures are, like, that's why they're acting that way. Like, in the amusement park, all the robots, their treasure is basically fun and amusement, and then when you go to, like, the Forest Kingdom, their treasure is their king and their sense of community. And then, but it also applies to, like, the androids as well, because, like, the androids, their treasure is effectively humanity, which they were made in the shape of. And I really liked that. Route C/D was cool. The opening bit of it was really fun and upsetting, but not upsetting in like I can't play this game anymore, just upsetting in this is where they gut punch you, huh? But I fear that my takeaway of ending E was maybe spoiled by people.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be hard to at this stage, like, 4 years out?
Here's the thing. I was able to go 4 years without ever seeing what ending E was.
But did you know what it was?
No.
Roughly?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. I didn't have any idea. Like, that's what I'm glad about, is that I didn't know what ending E was about at all. But it did not hit me the same way it hit other people, because the only thing that I knew about it was that when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and there was that sequence at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, some people alluded to that sequence being similar to a sequence in Automata.
It sure was. It would just ripped it off. It was insane.
And the thing is, I had the illusion shattered for me by the game itself, because I played Nier Automata without connecting to the network.
Ooh.
And when you get to that part and you fail enough times, it asks
Bro, log on.
Do you want to connect to the network? And then I immediately figured out what was going to happen, and I went, I'm good, and then didn't. And then was there for like 45 more minutes, and then I said, all right, let's see what this is about.
You little sicko. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? This is the ID. It's the identity check. It's like you going like, hey, did you realize that you should ask for help sometimes? Are you a normal person? Come on. And you're like, no, I'm a gamer.
I will say it was a bit frustrating how, so as you fail, it asks you a bunch of questions. Like, it doesn't just ask you, do you want to try again? It asks you, do you give up? And then it asks, and then you can select no or yes. And then it says things like, do you think this world is meaningless? Do you think games are just silly little things? And the first time you get asked those questions, it's very funny and endearing. The 13th time you get asked, do you think games are silly little things, it kind of wears off.
You're like, yeah, I do. You know what? I do now.
Yeah, Mr. Taro.
I do think this game is a silly little thing, Yoko Taro. Fuck you.
Turns out you're the silly little thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like after like 20 times they should just go, are you stupid as hell? Like, that should just be the question, and you answer it wrong because you're like, no, I'm not. And then they go, okay, here's some help.
So,
like that.
So but yeah, I think my reaction to Ending E was not the intended reaction, but I still had a good time. Mm-hmm. And after it was all done, and you get the part where you get to send a message, and I got to scroll through the little options, because it's basically like the Dark Souls leave a message system sort of thing, where you have like they can't let you type in whatever you want because people are going to be awful. Mm-hmm. But I did appreciate that one of because it's a 3-part message, and one of the parts has like I hate platinum games as the option you can put. So
I just remember when I finished that game, like, as you know, I had it a little spoiled for me, but when it really hit me what was going on during the credits and like all the messages were popping up, I just like started crying. I cried like the whole time through that. It was a really magical experience.
Yeah. My only thing is I wish they forced you to connect to the network in the background
before
for that part.
Yeah.
That would, because it wouldn't have broken the illusion for me. But here's the thing: in the moment when it's playing like the Weight of the World song, I wasn't crying. Mm-hmm. But it was after I had finished the game and was listening to Weight of the World is when I did start crying.
Did you know that when the chorus kicks in and there's all the voices in the background, that's all the developers? That's my fun trivia I like to say all the time.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. The thing that I liked is when I finished Route A, it plays Weight of the World in English, and then I finished Route B and it played it in, I think, Japanese, and there's like 2 other languages.
Chaos language.
that it's in, and playing the Ending E sequence and having it like loop the song in different languages, that's fucking A+ design right there.
Mm-hmm. The part that gets me for Ending E is just the chiptune at the beginning. I think it's super good. It's so good.
If I'm driving and Weight of the World comes on like Spotify or something, I like sing along to it, and I start bawling sometimes, and it gets bad out there. I'm gonna swerve off the road eventually, and the fucking like the ambulance is gonna put me in, and they're gonna be like, "No, we get it, dude. You're listening to the Weight of the World. It's fine. We're not gonna charge you." And I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, I think because of the type of game Nier Automata is, there's a lot of elements that can put any person off. Like they might not like the hacking or the shoot 'em up parts. They might not like the hack and slash combat, which I think is pretty good. Even like playing as 9S, where you have half of a move set, it's still pretty good. I just built 9S to be more ranged focused, and it was fine. Which is another thing that I really like, is the customization you can have with the different characters and the chips. Mm-hmm. But I think the music, the soundtrack for that game is unimpeachably good.
Oh yeah.
All in all, I'd say that Nier Automata is a good game, and I'm glad I played it. It still holds up in 2021. Mm-hmm. And all the people who were saying that Yoko Taro was going to delete a data center in Final Fantasy XIV with the crossover are out of their gourds.
The way that people talk about Yoko Taro online is insufferable. I'll tell you that much.
It is.
Like, it's like you reach a point where you're just like, they make it clear that they have played Nier, and I go, but did you like actually play Nier? Because like you don't seem to like get it.
I think he's definitely like a fun dude, and he's like ready to clown around a little bit, but also like I think we talked about it briefly, Rose, but like just a lot of like recent interviews where people are just like asking him all kinds of stupid ass questions. It's just like, bro, this guy's just like trying to live his life. Like, don't ask him like who would win in a fight stuff.
Yeah, that was like the ones, the stuff like I keep seeing the ones where people are like, who would win in a fight? 2B or kind? And it's like, do you realize like the games are about violence being bad, man? Do you know about that? Like, did you get that? Did you get the picture? No,
they didn't.
Like, it's about like people being forced to fight with limited perspectives.
They should be asking like, what kinds of dessert would Kane like, or you know.
There has been maybe a grand total of one question going, so Emil's gay, what's up with that? Like, that's it. Like, just the fact that, it's just like...
Go ahead.
No, it's just like with that question, like, I think Yoko Taro responded, like, they would both kill you, is his response. And it's like, how do you not read that as he is pissed off at you now? Like, that is the response. Like, he is, like, pissed. That is what that response says to me.
The question I want to ask Yoko Taro is, 9S alluded to buying to be a t-shirt when you walk into the commercial building. What's on the t-shirt? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. He would say Square Enix t-shirt. The Square Enix member points team t-shirt.
It would be an Among Us t-shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
2B, you're looking kind of sus today.
God. Well, that was like half an hour.
Near hour.
Yeah, that was a good while talking about that. But that's all right. Let's see here. I played a good amount of the new Pokemon Snap. I think I talked about it a little bit last week, but I've gotten far deeper into this. I think that game is like really good. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to say exceptional, but it's like they really took what Pokemon Snap was back in the day, and they didn't just like rest on their laurels. They really went like, okay, let's make Pokemon Snap for 2021. Let's make something that will engage people for a good amount of time, and it's not just going to be like, hey, here's a couple of levels, whatever, who cares? Like, there are so many places, there are so many like environments to explore, and then on top of that, they were like, yeah, if you go through the levels a few times and take a bunch of pictures, there's like different populations of Pokemon that'll show up because, you know, the Pokemon get used to you, which I think is like a really smart way to keep you invested in the game for longer, while also, you know, kind of bringing in the whole aspect of like, you know, Pokemon are wild animals, but to the extent that they also can like understand and trust humans. So once you've been through a few times and they understand that you're not a threat, they're like more willing to show more of themselves. Like that's really cool. And this game shows Pokemon in a far more realistic way than I think any other medium has ever shown them. Like, they are all very believable as animals. You know, they're like, I mean, you know, there's some parts of it that are a little unbelievable because, you know, they're like shooting lightning and, you know, shit like that. But you compare it to like even the anime, it is very, very much like, hey, I can kind of believe that these creatures exist. And, you know, they're not like saying their names or like just doing the cries. Like, they make like actual sounds that would be believable to come out of them. Their interactions are pretty interesting. Like, you see like actual, like, obviously they're not going to show you like a Pokemon eating another Pokemon, but there are moments where, you know, like prey Pokemon are getting chased by predators, or you know, there are believable like squabbles between Pokemon that would have like similar, they would live in similar environments. So like, you know, you can see like a Pinsir and a Heracross fighting over territory. It's absolutely wonderful. And then just like on top of that, they make it so you want to go through again. You want to keep exploring. There's so many ways that you can just interact with the world and see these Pokemon interact with each other, because it's not just, oh, I need to get the best picture possible of this Pokemon. It is, there's a bunch of different categories, and they have 4 different like levels of interaction that the Pokemon can have. And I'm not like 100% sure how that works. It just seems like level 1 is just, okay, you get a good like picture of the Pokemon. That is just like the 1 star is just get a picture of it, make sure it's centered, make sure it's looking at you, that sort of thing. And it's like 2 star is, you know, maybe it's interacting with something. 3 star is, you know, them doing some special like motion or some other like special event. And then 4 star is just like a really rare thing that they'll do, like using an attack or just like something that you kind of have to build up to, like, you know, leading them to a certain area to interact with something, or, you know, that sort of thing. So it feels, you can run through a level over and over again, even without the development leveling up, and you will still run into new things that you can do with the Pokemon. Just cause, you know, you could pass by something and be like, I wonder what would happen if I, you know, leave this Pikachu over here, or if I hit this Graveler in the head with an apple, or if I, like, once you get the Lumina Orbs, which lets things glow, what happens if I light this flower on with the Lumina Orb and then attract some Pokemon near it? It is just such it's a wonderful living world, and I am so happy that, like, I would have been pleased if they just went, all right, yeah, let's just make a bigger Pokemon Snap. But they absolutely didn't just do that. They made a bigger Pokemon Snap, but with like a lot of care, a lot of respect for, you know, like gameplay loops and of people's time, and of wanting people to really get something out of playing this game. That's not just, you know, I saw my favorite Pokemon. You get to see your favorite Pokemon in many, many different ways that you might not ever expect you would see them like. And that is super, super cool. You know, like, I like straight up, like, hooted and hollered when I passed by Kangaskhan, not just because I saw Kangaskhan, but I was like, oh man, I wonder all the cool stuff I can have Kangaskhan do, and all the cool pictures I can take of Kangaskhan doing all these different things. It's not just like, you know, in the first game, there was like the one thing you could get Kangaskhan to do, but now in here, there's like multiple things in multiple ways that Kangaskhan will interact with these other Pokemon, and it's so neat just discovering all these things. So yes, I very much enjoy new Pokemon Snap. I think it's like probably one of the better Pokemon spin-offs I've played. I'm
so glad.
It's super rad. They really did it. They really did it. People have been asking for a new Pokemon Snap for years, and they were like, all right, fine, you get a really, really good game. You've been waiting a long time.
Long, and
it has been so long.
I kept worrying that they'd release it and it would just be Pokemon Snap 2, and nobody, it's just like, because Pokemon Snap for the N64 was fun, but it was kind of a bare bones experience.
Oh yeah, 5 hours long.
Yeah, if that.
And granted, back in that time, that was fine. Like that could be a game that, like, literally, I rented Pokemon Snap from Blockbuster and played it for a weekend, and that was like, I got my time out of this game, and that's fine. But the longer they've waited to make a new Pokemon Snap game, the more people wanted it, and then the more expectations were going to be put on it to be more modernized and more fleshed out, and I'm really glad that it seems that they nailed it.
Yeah,
they really did.
I think the only thing that I really thought was like a bit of a negative thing was like yeah, the way that they have the 4 different stars that you have to fill out, and like the research level and stuff is a good idea, I think, to expand upon like what Pokemon Snap was, but like they make you do it so many times sometimes that was like I had to just go back to the jungle when I only had 2 stages open or whatever. I had to just go back to the jungle night like 4 times to just like get a slightly different, like, to hit Yanmega in the head with an apple to take a picture of that so that I could get enough points. Like, and that was like a little clunky.
Yeah, I can
think
see
like
that.
maybe the I feel like maybe the later game stuff should have been gated behind doing stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like what I would have wanted is them to maybe get you to the point. Like, I thought like giving you 2 stages at once with the beach and the desert was a good idea.
Mhm.
I think that they should have given you those like right after you finish the Jungle Knight, and then maybe after that, then it's like, all right, go back to all those and explore, because then you wouldn't be stuck doing the jungle over and over again or the park over and over again.
That's fair.
That's my only complaint I've had with it, I think. Otherwise, I think it's fantastic. I think it's really, really good.
My other complaint is that like it's a small thing, and honestly it's like something they could patch in, and I hope they do, is just I would kill for just a like visual guide to where you're tossing the fruit and the
like an arc or something.
Yeah, I would kill for that, because
it's pretty bad.
There's so many times where, because, you know, you're constantly moving, where I'm just sitting there, like, you know, trying to hit one of those, like, glowing flowers to activate something, and I'm, like, just whiffing it constantly, and by the time I finally hit it, I'm, like, past it, and I'm just like, well, fuck, alright.
Yeah, I think they need my solution to that, instead of an arc, they need, I know this might go against the spirit of it, a stop button and a speed up button for your cart. Because, like, when I was, like, redoing the jungle, I was like, okay, I know I just missed a picture of Ariados or something like that, and that's the points that I need. Can I just speed? Okay, I got the Ariados picture. The whole level's left now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I will say that, because if I remember correctly, there was a speed up button in N64 Pokemon Snap. I don't remember if there was a stop. There might have been. But I will say, I think if they end up not giving you that, maybe they give you that, like, you know, later on or something, I'm not sure. But I would just say that I feel like if they don't, I kind of understand why, because that way you're kind of forced to interact with those Pokemon, even though you have taken a picture of them already, and just be like, look, is there another way that I can, like, get them to do something, and maybe try to get another different kind of picture of them? I could see them wanting you to do that. So I get that. I do just wish that there was just some way to make it a little easier to hit targets, so I could, you know.
Yeah.
So I can do, like, I know what I need to do. It is because I'm constantly fucking moving, and I can't, like, you know, it's hard to, like, gauge the speed and trajectory of this kind of shit without, like, a visual guide.
I looked it up, and there is going to be a speed up. And the other thing that I found out is apparently I'm also wrong, because if you can just hit end research, I guess, from the menu.
Oh, well, okay.
At any point, so that's cool. Good to know. It's weird that with all of the really, like, annoying tutorialization they have in this game, they didn't tutorialize that.
There was one other thing that that they didn't tutorialize that is, like, infinitely useful, is the D-pad stuff. How if you press down on the D-pad, you do, like, an immediate 180. And, yeah, and if you press left or right, it does, like, immediate, like, left and right, like, 90-degree turns. And I think if you press up, because, like, if you press down, it's, like, an immediate 180, like, you just immediately look backwards, but if you press up, I think it, like, swings around. So, you know, that way you can, like, see as you're turning in case there's something, like, to the right or left of you to make sure that you don't miss it. So yeah, so definitely, like, ever since someone mentioned that, like, it is 100% made it better, because even if you, like, turn the sensitivity all the way up, it's still kind of slow to, like, just move the camera around. So definitely just, like, use the D-pad to just snap places, and then use the sticks to, you know, maneuver a little bit, make sure you're actually aiming at what you're trying to take a picture of.
It's a very finicky way to handle that.
Yeah, but
that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't think of another way to really do it. You know, it is that, and, you know,
it's the quick turn.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't think of what else you would do.
I mean, yeah, there's not really a good option outside of a stop button, like Rose said, or you just completely, they go the other direction of this is no longer a Rails game.
Yeah, because I feel like if they gave you a consistent stop button, that kind of defeats the purpose in a way.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I feel like I would just like the option.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think not to only drop complaints here after you've been like, yeah, it's really good, because I think it's really, really good. I think it's awesome. But I do think also the Illumina spots are a little,
Yeah, it's a little boring.
They needed, mainly because I think, like, when you get the first level up for the Meganium one, for example, and the EV shows up, you're like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I want. And then the EV leaves, like 30 seconds in, and you're like, so I'm here for 5 more minutes, huh? And the Meganium's just going. Okay. Like, they needed way more going on.
Yeah, I bet, like, once you hit, like, level 3 or whatever, then, like, a bunch of shit starts happening, but you have to, like, run through it, like, three or four times to get to that, because it's 2 Pokemon, you know, you can only you can only get so many pictures.
Yeah. But it's still very, very good game.
Still great.
I'm very glad they made it. I'm glad they got developers who really cared about it too. And my only complaint so far, and I've heard this from a friend who's gotten way further in too, is that they don't have any of the fun, silly stuff that Snap had. Like, I pushed the Charmeleon into a lava pool and it became Charizard. Like, or the Magikarp with Gyarados.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just because, like, the Pokemon Company were like, no, they have to level up to evolve. You can't, you can't just knock it into a pool.
Friendship.
Yeah, come on now. That Pichu won't evolve into a Pikachu unless it has a lot of friendship. I know it's hanging out with Grookey, but it hasn't.
Grookey doesn't count as a friend.
Yeah, it hasn't hit 255 friendship yet. All right, so. This fucking Inkay hasn't didn't go upside down on a 3DS, so it didn't evolve. I don't know. We could talk about some news. How about that? Because there was actually a lot of news that went on this past week. Some good, some bad, some weird. What do y'all want to start off with? You want to start with something interesting or bad or weird?
Game Builder Garage. We're tired of designing video games, so you can do it your damn self.
Yeah.
Nintendo likes doing that. They really liked doing that recently.
Super Mario Maker, but it's not Mario anymore.
Yeah. Nintendo saw Roblox and they were like, we could do that. And they kind of did. It is a game creation studio thing where there's a bunch of tutorials and they're basically just marketing it as, hey, does your kid want to learn how to make a game? And you can do some light programming stuff. It seems pretty neat. It seems definitely less obtuse than Labo was, because Labo you had to use the cardboard and it was very, structured, and you can only do what they wanted you to do with it. With this, it seems a lot more open. And also it is just the game. It is a $30 game coming out in June. Sure, yeah. They say that you can make a bunch of different kinds of games. They have pictures of a fighting game. They have pictures of a racing game. Like a voxel type game, or no, that's more like Marble Madness. Just a lot of different stuff that you could do. They are letting you do what you want to do, I guess. So that's neat. For $30, that's also not bad either. Labo and all that was kind of expensive, and Mario Maker was a full $60 game. So $30,
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. Do any of you have any opinions?
Released a lot worse for a lot more, is what I would say. I think this is good. I think the stuff about you have to download, or you have to enter friend codes to download stages is, I guess, at least you can download stages. But I think Nintendo is basically, that's the only part that really frustrates me, because it feels like Nintendo is more and more instead of rectifying their issues with the understanding of online, that stuff that was coming out, hey, someone homebrewed their Switch and this let them become the #1 Splatoon player because they just edited a text file or whatever. That's stuff like that's stupid, and you go well, I hope they get better. And their solution seems to be, what if we just did less? What if, for example, this is just a code instead of the Super Mario Maker style, curated like menus and stuff where you search and stuff. That reminds me, that was the only other thing I had a problem with in Snap. I was going to ask you, the online thing just doesn't work, right?
What do you mean?
Like when you go and click on them, it's just the pre ones that have like that they like devs put in, and then like 6 maybe from online.
No.
And then a bunch of broken links for you. No,
it works fine for me.
But like it only loads like 20 pictures, right?
No,
what?
It works for me.
There's an arrow and stuff that you can use to see more.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I haven't looked that far into it, but every time I've messed around with it, it's worked fine.
Every time I've messed around with the internet stuff, all it does is it loads like 6 of the same pictures, which are clearly from developers, and then a bunch of other random pictures, and then a bunch of broken pictures, and then you can't hit load more or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just Nintendo.
Yeah, their online could always be better.
It should be, especially since they started charging for it.
Mm-hmm.
Their everything could be better.
Yeah, sure could. Let's see here. There's some other weird shit going on. Y'all know that Discord thing that we're using right now to talk on to do a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was all that talk that like someone was going to purchase them, like Microsoft or I don't know who else, but it was mostly Microsoft. It seems like that is not the case, but instead, Sony just took an ownership stake in Discord. They did not, like fully buy them out or anything, but they invested a good amount of money in them. And because of that, they have announced that Discord will be integrated into PlayStation sometime next year. They're saying that, you'll be able to like use Discord on your PlayStation 5. Also, like maybe on like the PlayStation app of some sort, or maybe you'll be able to like, see what your friends are playing on PlayStation when you're like using Discord on your computer or phone. There is that. So, it seems pretty basic, but also,
it's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I think the number one thing, like I know I have friends who have Xboxes and PlayStation, and they do crossplay stuff together all the time. And guess what? They can't talk to each other unless they also have their PC open. And not everyone has the ability to line in audio. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of like, I'm half hearing like that's what I did for years with Final Fantasy for the longest time. Was I just had my like headphones on connected to my computer and playing it on the PlayStation out through the TV or whatever, and I could barely hear the game, but I could hear so I had to hear the Discord. So combining that is good, especially since PSN chat is I don't know if you've used it, but it's not great. So cross-platform stuff seems good, useful. Hopefully it gets on some Microsoft stuff. I'm worried they feel snubbed or something, but
yeah, I mean, they should just like have it integrated in everything, because who cares? It's Discord. It's a third-party thing. Just like put it on Xbox, put it on Switch. Who cares? It'll be better than whatever party shit they got on the console.
Yeah.
And then let's do one last thing here. So I think this was also last week where we talked about how Humble Bundle were a bunch of dumbasses, and we're taking away the sliders and we're making it fixed how much money you're giving to charity. Well, they walked that back, at least for now. So now you can pick how much money you're giving to charity again.
Bullying works.
I'd like to blame the Yowie tweet that they made causing the backtrack, because that was truly a horrendous tweet that they deserve to be raked over the coals for. When I saw them put Shonen Ai, I was like, oh boy, okay.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't understand what the fuck.
It was because they had a Yowie bundle.
I know, but still.
It was still a very weird tweet.
Yeah.
It wasn't ironic enough. Like, it was clear that they were trying to go for some degree of irony mixed with sincerity, which, by the way, combining the two,
it's dangerous.
It doesn't work. It does. It never.
They don't mix.
No one can. Very few individuals can pull it off.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, it did not seem like they could. It's a very bad tweet.
Yeah. But that's there. So now you can give all your money to charity and to the devs, and maybe a little bit to Humble, so they can keep the lights on.
For now.
Spencer, what else has been going on with you?
Just got a quick thing.
Okay.
So, new Destiny season is next week. When this episode's out, it'll be 2 days on Tuesday. So, last season was when they released their current expansion, Beyond Light. It was my first time playing Destiny 2, and I've talked about that on previous episodes. I've been enjoying it. A lot of weird design decisions they've made with that game, both in the past and in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Very much strikes me as we don't want this to be an MMO, despite the fact that it is. Or, okay, it's an MMO now, but we're going to design things to be worse than pre-existing stuff. Kind of like the Nintendo issue, really. But it's Bungie. This past season, the one that's ending, I started off, playing it pretty regularly, but I kind of just fell off of it. It's mostly just the fact that the problem with the season that I started in, season 12, was that like longtime Destiny players were like, there's not really much anything to do, and that was good for me because it gave me room to catch up and do all the stuff that I'd missed. This season they were like, we're gonna throw in all these like new things, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with this. I'm just gonna leave. So then I went and played other games. The next season is coming out, and they have more new shit that's coming out. But one of the things that they're adding that people have wanted for a long time is a fashion system, or like World of Warcraft players will know it as transmog. Final Fantasy XIV players will know it as a glamour system. The idea where you make one piece of gear look like another piece of gear so that you can, have fashion, which has been a big part of many kinds of games. I think about things like fashion souls for Dark Souls. Fashion is currently like a big thing in like the Pokemon games now, ever since X and Y, where you could customize your trainer's appearance. And like, I think we can all agree that like being able to customize your character in your video game is always fun and good. And Destiny 2 has found a way to make it bad, and it's very funny to me. So first I'm going to explain how like the system works in Final Fantasy XIV, just a really broad overview, so people who might not be aware can have like a baseline, like the baseline I was going into with like Destiny 2 getting this kind of system. So in Final Fantasy XIV, once you reach level 15, which is pretty early on, you can do a quest that unlocks the glamour system. You use a glamour prism, which is an item, and then you can turn one piece of gear into another piece of gear as long as the piece you're turning it into is not of a higher level. You can't make a level 70 piece of gear look like a level 80 piece. They've got to be of equal or lower level. And getting glamour prisms, you can get them in a variety of different ways. You can just buy them from other players. You can craft them yourself. It's pretty straightforward. The system used to be worse because you used to have to be level 50 to unlock the system, and glamour prisms used to come in like different types based on what the gear was made out of, like carpenter ones or leatherworker ones. Mm-hmm. And they used to come in different grades, which determined different, like you would use a grade 1 prism for level like 15 gear, and you use a grade 3 for level 30 gear or whatever. It was bad. So they all just consolidated all that into one item, one glamour prism, and you can get it in a variety of different ways. So here's how the Destiny 2 system works.
Oh, I've heard it explained like 8 times, and it's horrible every single fucking time, so go ahead.
It's so bad. Okay. So, there's a new NPC who's technically an old NPC, but they're bringing her back, and they've repurposed her to be like the glamour person. They call it armor synthesis in Destiny 2. So, you go to this character, and you get bounties, which are like basically mini quests in Destiny 2. They're pretty ubiquitous. They can be things like kill 13 enemies with a grenade, or shoot 5 guys burgers and fries with like lightning damage or whatever. Really simple stuff. Sometimes they require you to go to a specific zone. Sometimes they require you to be doing it in a specific activity, whatever. So you do those bounties, and I'm not actually fully sure about this system because I've forgotten like the minutia details. But basically, you do stuff and you get a resource that's like a string, basically, and then you go to this NPC, you turn in the string, and you get bounties, and you turn in the bounties reward you with like thread, and then you turn in the thread, and it gives you this like coil or whatever. And then the coil you can turn into like an armor synthesis prism thing. And so they've invented 3 currencies. I'm making like the names aren't actually like that. They're different names. They introduced 3 different currencies when they could have just had one is the problem here. And it's all just to obfuscate the process of you getting this prism that you can use to turn one piece of gear into another piece of gear. So it extends the grind of having to get these different materials and go to this NPC and get these bounties to turn them in and finish them so you can get these prisms. So that part I would be okay with. It's the next part that people were like, this is bullshit. You can only get 10 of them per season, and a season is 13 weeks. There are 4 armor slots, technically 5, for Destiny 2. You've got a headpiece, chest piece, leg piece, gloves, and then whatever your class item is. So for hunters, it's cloaks. For titans, it's like these sashes they wear around their belts. And for warlocks, it's the bands that they wear on their left arm. Since you can only get 10 of them per season, this means that you can get a maximum of like 2 full gear sets, basically, to be turned into fashion items that you can apply wherever you want, on whatever gear you want. Since next season is when they're introducing the system, they're actually doubling how many you can get per season to 20. But the issue is that if you want more, you have to pay money for extra prisms, which is the unfortunate part. And this part it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of been Destiny 2's thing ever since they separated from Activision, is how do we make, like, for a little bit it seemed like people going like, oh, okay, so now the microtransactions that were Activision mandated will chill out, all this other stuff, and it seems to just gone worse, right? Like, it seems really bad. Like, I was seeing those $20 emotes and I was like, really?
The take that I have is that I would be okay with them being purchasable if they weren't limited. Like, because in that sense, it's like you can either grind for them and you can get as many as you want, you can grind to your heart's content, and that's the reason the grind exists, because then it's like, if you don't have the time or the patience or care to grind them, you can just pay them some money and just get them. But since they're limited, I feel like they're either, like, there shouldn't be a grind to them then. You should just, like, when the season starts, you get your 10, you do like a tiny little quest or whatever, you get your 10 and then you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That's like where I am. Because what I had been doing is whenever I saw a piece of gear that like I really liked, but it was like a shitty, like low level stuff, I had been like saving it because it's like, oh, you know, I really like the look of this and I know that they're going to have that armor synthesis system coming out and I'm going to, you know, I want to save this so I can turn it in. And I was treating this like it was going to be like Final Fantasy system where you can just, you know, have as many shit as much as you want, but no, it's 10 per season. It's so funny.
What if they just made fashion slots? What if they just did that? There's so many games that just have a slot that's like, this is the gear that's shown to everyone else. It's fine. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Like, I get that they have to have like revenue because capitalism sucks and every company has to make revenue. I get it. But I really feel like if they're going to limit the number, they should like either if you're going to have a limit, reduce the grind, or don't have a limit, and then that gives a justification for why the grind exists, because then you can just pay them money to shortcut it. I also still like this applies to Destiny 2, but it applies to a lot of games. I still don't really like season passes as a concept.
Yeah.
Mostly because once a season is over, like if you didn't get stuff on the past, like that's it. And I think that's bullshit. I think if you pay for a season pass, you should be able to have that content or get those rewards whenever you want. And if like like if I buy a season pass for next season and then I don't play Destiny 2 for 3 years and I come back, like if there could be like a period of time where it's like, okay, it's been 2 years, we're just going to give you all the rewards from this for free without having to actually grind or do shit for it. Like, I think if you pay for a season pass, the stuff you get out of it should be you permanently access it. And I also don't think it should be a time limit thing either. I think if like people want to go back and buy like older season passes, they should be allowed to do that if they want to. But
right,
it's funny. It's that's why I wrote in the notes that it's hilariously bad. It's so funny and it's so awful at the same time.
Rose, tell us about what else you've been up to.
Sure, I'll start with my more recent vice and then go into the old one that I went back to. So Apex Season 9 came out. It's got story stuff that's based off Titanfall. The new character they added is this lesbian who is the son of a boss from Titanfall 2.
Okay.
Son. I don't know why I said son. Daughter of a boss from Titanfall 2.
Right.
And she can fly.
Ooh.
Because she took the Titanfall jets out and made a backpack out of them.
Ooh, that's cool.
And she's got the cluster missiles from Titanfall 2, one of the Titans, that she just does. Okay. Is her ability. She's really fun. I really, really like her a lot. She might be a little too strong. We'll wait and see. But I think she's really fun because her ult is basically like you get to just launch like 1,000 feet up into the air and fly away for a little bit.
Okay.
Which is really fun in a game like Apex, you know, because like I've been having a lot of fun with it because it's like, oh no, we're getting shot at by 2 different groups. Here's what we're going to do. Just grab everyone and jump away and fly like to another zone. It's fun. They also added a bow, and I'm a big proponent of bows in FPS games. Let me tell you, I think they are almost always good. And this one is very good. It's got 2 things that you can switch with it. So one is like you can get like a rapid fire bow by firing like right when you're supposed to, like a perfect shot or whatever mechanic, basically. And then it also has a separate one that makes it into basically a shotgun. So like if you use it at short range, it becomes like a burst, like it separates into a bunch of chunks or whatever on impact. So like you can run up on like a group of people or whatever and you hit it and it will hit all of them. It was one bow shot. And that's pretty fun. That's a fun idea. But the biggest thing they added was a like Counter-Strike 3v3 mode.
Okay.
With like a little shop and stuff where you buy weapons before each round. It's got curated maps that are like, there's some original maps and then some that are like a zone torn out of one of the Battle Royale maps. It seems okay. I think I would have wanted them to go for larger team sizes. Than 3v3, because obviously 3 is the default squad for the Battle Royale, but like I felt like there's a reason like games like Valorant and Counter-Strike are 5v5 or more. It's like you need that if like people are going down that quick, like you need more going on, because it also does the thing that Valorant does that I hate. I bet Counter-Strike does it too, where so instead of it being first 1 to 3 wins, for example, right? It is like if you're about to win and then they win a game, you then have to win twice to win. And then if like vice versa, and it just keeps going until you hit the 10th round or something. And that makes games kind of feel a little too long. This is my only real complaint with it, because it's like, you know, like you'll have like a good game where you're like, yeah, we really did that. We brought it back, like whatever. They beat us twice, but then we beat them twice, and then we won a 3rd time, and we have to do another round, and they just won again, and now we have to win. And then do we win this one, or do we just give up because we don't want to play anymore? Like it just sort of keeps going. I would just make it best of 3. That's what I would just do. Or like. Three wins. Sorry. Make it 3 wins and then stop it. Done. I think that's fine, because it goes on way too long right now. Especially since, unlike unlike Counter-Strike, or maybe I'm getting this completely wrong, so if you're a Counter-Strike fan out there, don't murder me, but in Counter-Strike, you have the money shared between rounds, and then, like, you keep the items you bought in the previous rounds if you won, I think. And in this one, they just reset your inventory every single time, so you have to remake your inventory before every single round. So it means, like, when you're doing 10 rounds that are lasting, like, maybe 2 minutes max, and there's a 30-second wait time before each round, it kind of wears you down, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just sort of waiting, and then you do a little fight, and then you're waiting and do a little fight. Like, it just goes on too long. The whole thing goes on too long. But I think it's a good idea. I'm interested to see, like, where they go with more modes, more maps for this stuff, how they adjust it, because obviously it's the first time they're doing it. I don't think Titanfall had a mode like this even. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. All in all, it's been a good thing for Apex. I think the servers have been a little whack, is the only problem. Which, I mean, you'd think that by now all these big games would have, you know, hey, we're going to rent a server for a week while we have the new player boom or whatever for the start of the season, but
guess not.
Nope. The other game that I used to play all the time that I'm playing again, unfortunately, is The Binding of Isaac. I've kind of fallen off of roguelikes recently. Obviously, I loved Hades, right? Who didn't love Hades that played it? No ill will to you, John, because I don't think you played it, right?
I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah. But like recent roguelites haven't hit me. Gungeon never got me. I liked Loop Hero, but I didn't go like nutso for it.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't really been one that's hit me, and I used to be a big Isaac head. Get this out of the way real quick. I hate the aesthetics. Don't get me wrong. It looks horrible. I hate a lot of aspects of it, but it's just really fun to play. And then, so it had a new DLC come out that was made by modders, like a month ago. And, it's, basically like, there was this big mod that you could install right before they added mod support to the game. And I forget what it was called, but these modders basically made it, and then they released mod support for the game like a month later, and it rendered that mod unusable or uninstallable, which was like, oops, because it was like a big mod, like a really, really big mod, like 10 new areas, like 30 bosses, like 100 and something items. So like they were like, okay, well, these guys like clearly are good at designing stuff for this game, so we're gonna let them design stuff for the game. And they've gone over it with like all that stuff that was in that mod, which I tried to play, or I played a bunch of it actually, had for ideas. And I think they like really improved upon those ideas. They made them better. They fixed a lot of the stuff that made me stop playing Isaac in the first place, because they released the second expansion, I believe, for Rebirth, the remake, and it just completely ruined the whole balance of the game, made it really annoying, because the appeal of Isaac is basically you get a really good build with items, or you get a really fun build with items, and you just get to the point where you're destroying everything in like one hit or something, or in similar fashion, like something fun like that. And what that expansion had done was basically make it so that was impossible to happen. It made it so that enemies scaled off of your stats, which is one of the most insane decisions I could ever think that they, like, I don't know why they added that, but it basically made it so like there were no times anymore where you were getting a build that was one-shotting anything. Like everything was just hard all the time, always. And that made me stop playing, because it's like, you know, I'd like to not have to like put a ton of effort into doing the early game stuff that I've done a million times. Like, you know, it was stupid. But this went back and fixed all of it. All the new stuff's really cool. It's really fun. I think the most important thing is whoever these modders are do not have the fascination with poop and all this other shit that Edmund McMillan does, and designed like genuinely cool bosses that look cool, like that are just like little guys with like some like horror component to them or something like that. Or like a dude who goes around in a mine cart and does Bomberman attacks on you.
That's cool.
yeah, like they added a bunch of cool stuff, and that's what's gotten me back in, is doing it again. And the fact that they fixed it, they fixed the balancing issues, so it's more fun again. Like, it's still very, very hard. It's really, really hard still, but I've just been enjoying playing it again, which is nice. I really wish that it didn't look the way it did, but we can't have everything, I guess.
Yeah, I've never been one for the toilet potty poop humor that Binding of Isaac
same.
leaned heavily on. I played 9 hours of it back in like 2012 or whenever, but I haven't picked it up since.
I have played like 400 hours total, I think, between the original and the remake.
Yowza.
Fucked up thing about the original, let me tell you real quick. The original was made in Flash, right? And then they made the remake because Flash sucks ass and is bad. So they were like, hey, the original designer who didn't make the remake was like, I designed a custom patch for the original that will update it and make everything better. And it made the game so much worse and unplayable. So that game is just unplayable now if you buy it on Steam.
Oh dear.
Basically just made like everything just hard by default, and like kind of the same problems with the other one, but except way worse. Just very artificial difficulty type stuff. Like, oh, I made everyone do double damage, stuff like that. Really stupid stuff.
Sicko shit.
But it's a fun game. It's still a really fun game. Again, I wish there were less potty humor stuff, but like ultimately it's still really fun, unfortunately.
Okay. I guess the only other thing that I've been playing is it's something that I hop into here and there just as a like kind of blow off steam game. But I've been playing a little bit of a medieval recently. That's one of those New Blood first person shooters. It's fucking sick. If you are a boomer shooter fan and you haven't played a medieval, you are missing out. It is tight as hell. It's got really incredible weapons. It's got super tight like combat, and the maps are all fantastic. It is just rad. It is like, hey, we are doing like Hexen and Quake, but more modern in its like level design and its characters and its enemy placements, and it's fucking gorgeous too. That game is just cool to look at. It's rad. It is just rad. I dig that game a lot. But it is also something that like I just play a little bit of here and there, because it's like, oh hey, I just want to chill for a little bit. I want to like let off some steam. I'm gonna kill a bunch of these guys. It's fun though. I think I'm on like the third world, and I think there's 7 total, or levels. I don't chapters. I don't know. I don't know what they want to call those. Episodes. Yeah, they always call them episodes. That's right. God, I'm out here watching Civi videos, okay. and I can't remember that. But no, I definitely want to look into more of those sorts of games. You know, as the resident Duke Nukem 3D apologist, I do want to play more of those like classic style first person shooters. Because they are very fun, and like people are doing really neat things with the modern stuff, like especially New Blood. Like all the New Blood stuff is really good, and God, I gotta give Ultra Kill another shot, because I just remember I didn't really like what they had with the demo, just because I didn't really dig I just didn't really like how the maps were set up, because it felt like they really wanted you to like just be moving around and like focusing on the enemies, but I felt like they were like leaving too many open pits on the ground. So you were like having to like juggle, okay, I need to like look down, look up, look down, look up, to make sure that you're not like running into a pit over and over. And that was a little frustrating. But then I saw some gameplay of like the more recent maps, and it seems like that they amended that pretty well. So I definitely want to give Ultra Kill another shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I will play that sometime.
I got it. And I think I have. Here's my issue. I'm going to be real with you. With games in early access is the same thing that happens to me as soon as I find out a game like has DLC. Like Spiritfarer, I just found out is going to have like all these DLC patches. So I'm like, well, I guess I won't finish it then.
Yeah.
like the early access one, especially with this one, I feel like it works better for a game like this because it's like episode 1 is done. Like episode 2 is done. Episode 3 is done. And like, I'll get to it at some point, but it's like knowing that, like, seeing that they've been like, we introduced new guns that went in here, or like we did, like, we're going to add achievements and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh man, like I just want to wait for it to be there.
Absolutely. That is why I very explicitly like told myself, like I bought the Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth game, and I was just like, I'm not gonna play this. I bought it so I could have it, so I could give like some money to the devs, and I'm not going to play this until it's actually out. And then that was smart because I actually played through like the first bit that they had when they did the first like release for early access, and then I didn't touch it again. So then I started over when it hit 1.0, and they had like retooled a bunch of stuff about the game that was just completely different from the first version. So it was just like, okay, I'm so glad I didn't, do that, because I would have like, run into a wall at some point. Having to deal with the unfinished, unperfected versions of all these things. Like, yeah, I absolutely respect, like how Ultra Kill does it, or games that like that, where it's just like, hey, the game's not done, but when you play through the first chapter, that's how it's going to be in the release version. So, like, I respect that. I mean, I'm not going to say that I disrespect the other way. It's just, personally, I don't want to do that.
You know, what I just realized, and I'm glad I found this out after I'd played it, but Nier Automata has DLC.
It does.
And
I did it all.
I looked it up, and I was like, I don't feel like I need to play this. It's cool that you can get 2B to wear Kaine's outfit, though. That's hot as hell. But
yeah. I prefer the A2 outfit where their brains ascend to the moon, and it's really good.
Oh, and
it's this.
Doesn't she wear Brother Nier outfit? Yeah, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Which is fitting, because like A2's default outfit is almost non-existent.
I think it's less fitting since A2 is supposed to be Kaine, but whatever. No, I think the funniest part of it is 9S gets the stupid ass little baby outfit. I think it's so funny. Stupid little shorts continue.
But yeah, I'm not gonna play that. I don't feel
you
like
don't have to.
I don't feel like
fine.
I have to. And like, if I had found out that it had DLC before I tried playing it, I might have had that sort of friction again of, I don't know if I want to play Nier Automata because it has DLC, and it feels wrong to play a game without the DLC sometimes, especially in a game that's like, the DLC has narrative focus. Like, I wouldn't say, like, I played BioShock 2 last year for the first time, and I had the DLC for it, and the DLC is one of the best parts of that game, and I would not really recommend playing BioShock 2 without playing the DLC after you're done with it. But I still think BioShock 2 is fine, but the DLC is amazing.
Right.
Yeah, the DLC is better than the main game by far. And again, like you said, not like the main game is anything to sniff at. The DLC for Nier has the only thing that I think like really they nail it with is the CEOs fight, where you have to fight the Platinum Games and Square Enix CEOs.
Immersion shimmersion. All right, let's run through the rest of the news. So E3 is still happening, I guess. A bunch more companies confirmed that they were going to be joining up with and doing E3. So it's real, folks. E3 is still happening.
It's going to be mostly, if not entirely, digital.
Yeah,
which is good.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember if we talked about it last week, but Konami did pull out of E3, and that was surprising because a lot of folks were taken aback by that. But then they like looked at the old E3 announcements, and they were like, "Wait a minute!" Konami was like basically saying they were like one of the major devs here, so they were going to be like announcing a lot of shit. But now they're like, "Nah, instead we're going to like trickle stuff out when it's more ready."
All right.
So yeah. That was weird, but now it's like, oh hey, pretty much everybody is back on board with E3. All right, took a year off and we're back to it.
Sony's still not, right? And
I don't think so.
Who's the other one? EA? Or is EA going to be there?
I don't know about EA, but I think Sony is still not involved. Pretty much everyone else is, though.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's the news pretty much. It's happening. There was quite the rift in the games press here. There was a big thousands of voices shouted out at once, and then were immediately silenced when Giant Bomb is pretty much not a thing as it was anymore. Brad Shoemaker, Vinny Caravella, and Alex Navarro all left the site. So if we're talking about like the original crew, all that's left is Jeff. I think like Jan and Jason are also still there, and Jeff Bacalar is still involved in some way. But it's kind of wild. It's like Giant Bomb East seems to just be like shutting down. They're not having a Beast cast anymore. Like they just like did the last Beast cast ever. It's really wild and confusing. I guess just like on a personal level, like Chooch would not have happened if Giant Bomb wasn't a thing. Like, Mike and I started doing this just because we wanted to be like them. And, I think we definitely evolved past that. Like the site it's like we are our own thing now. And that's like really cool. But like, obviously at first we were just like, Giant Bomb's cool. Let's do something like that. 'Cause we're just a bunch of kids and we don't know how to come up with our own idea. And I mean, that's like how everything is, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, just like personal memories, like the thing that, like, I definitely have my moments of weakness where like it feels like, Chooch isn't a legitimate thing. It feels like you're banging your head against the wall. But something that I remember is the first E3 I went to. God, I'm kind of tearing up just thinking about this because like it was so affirming. The first E3 I went to, I was on my way to like check out some games, and on the way I saw Vinny, Brad, and Alex, the three guys who left together. They were hanging out in a hallway, like taking pictures with fans, basically. And I stopped by and I told them, hey, I love the site, love everything that you do. Like, y'all are really inspiring. And instead of treating me like a fan, because, I, had a journalist badge on and I, treated, and I wasn't just like, let's take a picture, they invited me to like walk with them to their appointment and we just chatted. And that was like the first time I legit felt like a games journalist, like those three guys really made it feel like, wow, I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. And, it meant a lot. It really, really meant a lot. So, and then we got to hang out with them, like during one of the Ubisoft press conferences. We got to like hang out in the back room. And that was also like really, really cool. Like being on the set that they were, where they record all those really amazing interviews, like the yearly Phil Spencer interviews and all that stuff. And, it's, they're saying they're not going away for good. Jeff hasn't really detailed what they're going to do next. He says that they're going to like bring on some new talent, I guess, which would be really cool. I obviously, Giant Bomb was always like a bunch of old heads, and, bringing on some new talent is never a bad idea. But at the same time, like, I'm not gonna speculate. That's not, that's not professional on something like this. But, it is still like really shocking when like your three of your biggest dudes all leave at once. It is really shocking. So you hope that it turns out okay. 'Cause, I'm interested to see what happens with regards to everyone else who left, like all three of those guys are super talented and, I'm sure they'll find something cool to do. But, it really, really feels like it is the end of an era. It really feels like what Giant Bomb was for all that time is done. And, it's sad.
Yeah. I've been watching them since I was like a baby. I don't know, like a little tiny creature. And they're also definitely part of why I got into writing stuff. I feel like from a different angle, it was just like, for me, it was like as someone who got disappointed as they moved away from writing and more critical stuff over the years, because I remember like I always liked like just how like there was this willingness for a long time for them that I think they got away from eventually, but like where they were just like they were willing to say that something was bad. They were willing to say that like a game wasn't very good, stuff like that. I imagine a lot of that is based in their, origins, as it were. With Kane and Lynch and stuff like that. And even if I didn't agree with them, like going on, I was still listening to the Beastcast every week. Like I was watching every like, and this doesn't hurt me too much because like basically the only stuff I was watching on the site was Vinny and Alex stuff. So that I'll miss that. But I was watching all the stuff Jan does because Jan is like a tremendous guy. Like he is like this really great force. And like in theory, if Giant Bomb could manage to pull together some guys like Jan, I would be like, yeah, sure. But like, them getting absorbed by venture capital, was a worrying thing when it happened. And this happening now, like, regardless of the reasons, because, you never know. Maybe, possibly, it could have been for different reasons. They're just tired. They don't want to rebuild the site for the 5th time. Stuff like that. But, like, I worry about, like, if, like, Vinny Caravella is leaving. Like, what are you being asked to do there? Like, what is it going to be? Because I just worry, like, a venture capital goes, you guys like do the video thing, right? Like, why don't you do like what Ninja does or something like that? Or like, why aren't you writing the SEO articles like CNET and stuff like that? Like, I was already noticing that they shifted to using face cams in Quick Looks and stuff like that. And that made me think that was a company mandate and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like, it was bound to happen at some point. It's always going to be disappointing when it does. I guess it's good that we got as much as we did. I kind of fell off back in 2014, but
yeah, I mean, I definitely fell off too in the grand scheme of things, but it was still just like a constant thing in the background. I could always
exactly. It's always there for you to check.
Yeah, I could always like listen to the Bombcast again because it's going to be out every week, and or the Beastcast, and now Beastcast is going to be there anymore, and like who knows what's going to happen with the Bomb. I mean, they could have Jeff, Jan, and Jason. And maybe Bacalar or whatever, like calling in, but what's gonna happen later? I guess we'll find out. I'd love to see what happens.
Apparently, Danny O'Dwyer said he is doing more stuff. Also, I'll say with them,
with Giant Bomb or
yep, yeah. Okay. He said there's no clip letter this month.
All right.
As somebody who was never on the Giant Bomb train, like ever, it's been like. Most of my close friends were big Giant Bomb fans, and I sort of got to know some of like the culture around them through my friends. Like I remember the first time we like E3 happened when we moved up here. We were watching like the Giant Bomb content for E3, and like was it 2018? I think it was 2018, and I got to understand the bit where they just play like the lockdown song for the entire fucking time on loop, and it was really fucking good. I got to watch all like the couch interviews and such. But it's been it has been an experience watching a bunch of people sort of come to terms with Giant Bomb isn't going to be the same as it has been for many years, and I think. As somebody who was never really like a huge consumer of their content or a fan of their works, I think by and large the video game community could have done a lot worse. And so I'm kind of like, even though I was never like big into them, I'm kind of sad to see like them go, and I hope everybody's all right and that things work out for everybody.
Yeah, I know I shouldn't be worried about a bunch of, like, middle-aged white men, but, like, I do worry, like, what is the, like, through path, or the path where I still get to see Vinny make incredible jokes every week, right? Like, where does he go where that happens? Since it doesn't seem like he's planned anything. Doesn't seem like he knows even. Or Brad, like, this has been Brad's one job, right? Like, his whole life, basically.
He's got that tech podcast, so him and Will Smith are just gonna hang out and do a tech podcast, maybe. I don't know.
Tested 2.
Yeah, it's time, baby.
Yeah, I wonder. But yeah, I mean, it was gonna happen. And you never expect it to happen like this. I guess that's how it goes always, right? You never expected things to go the way they do. I have to say, like, Giant Bomb finishing off because, like, those 3 guys left is not what I would have expected. I really would not have expected that to happen. At least not all at once.
You really never know, though. Like, it's... Yeah, you really never know. We could be sitting here next year being like, damn, Giant Bomb really came back swinging. But, you know, we could also be sitting here in a year saying, yeah, that completely flopped and Giant Bomb's not a thing anymore, and Jeff's just, you know, doing whatever the fuck now, and that's it. You know, who knows? So yeah, you know, Chooch, as a site, you know, we kind of owe it all to them, but, you know, we thank you all, Giant Bomb folks. Y'all are great. Thanks a whole bunch for inspiring us. Let's see here. Next bit of news here. There was an announcement of a new Judgment game. We got, you know, Judgment, right? The spin-off of Yakuza, the one where you play as the detective guy. Well, there's a new one called Lost Judgment. They announced that today, because I think today is also the day that they released the, like, next-gen ports of Judgment. So they called it Judgment Day. They basically confirmed what folks were kind of thinking, that they're going to keep Yakuza as the RPG games, you know, because you're probably going to keep playing as Ichiban, and then Judgment is going to be where you have the classic Yakuza beat-em-up style, where you're going to be, you know, punching and kicking with the buttons and all that, like you would with Kiryu.
Smart.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, they showed off a bunch of crazy shit that you're going to do, like, you know, you're dancing, you're skateboarding around now, I guess you're gonna fight high schoolers in this game, but instead of, like, beating the shit out of them, you just, like, parry their moves, so, you know, you can take them down without, like, beating up kids, which is pretty funny.
Never stop Kiryu.
He really didn't, no. But I guess the detective guy wants to be a little bit less Yakuza, I guess. He doesn't want to be breaking the law. But, you know, I mean, Judgment was fine from what I played, but it sounds like they are very much trying to improve on what they started off with, and I will definitely give Lost Judgment a shot. I will actually probably have to pick up the next-gen version of Judgment Original, though, because I definitely didn't finish that game, so I should, you know, play through it.
I still haven't touched it at all, so I don't know a dang thing about it, other than there's drones.
Yeah, you do use a drone at one point, I remember. Yeah, there's that. And the last bit of news is, I'm going to be honest, it's probably the thing that I am the least fully in the know of, because, you know, it's court documents and shit like that. But the Apple versus Epic Games court case started up, and it's just been consistent crazy thing after crazy thing. Bunch of stuff got leaked because, you know, a lot of the court documents are public record. So, you know, there was a bunch of, like, information from, you know, like, Epic working with different companies that got leaked. It's been a real shit show because, you know, like, all the lawyers don't, like, fully grasp video game jargon and, you know, why the video game industry would be so secretive, because they have their hype cycles and all that shit, and they gotta wait for E3 and all that. There's been, like, you know, there's been some funny stuff, like, most of that stuff has been pretty funny, but there's also a lot of, like, super frustrating stuff, like the, you know, continuing realization that, like, you know, Epic could have had a good case to, like, really stick it to Apple and actually do something kind of good overall, but they just screwed it up by being assholes and doing that whole, like, 1984 thing and, you know, just being dumb. So, you know, Apple might win this case and, like, get a bunch of protection and, be able to control content even more than they already do.
Yeah.
And then today, when we recorded on Friday, there was the really unfortunate and shitty conversation around itch.io, where because I guess itch can be like loaded up through the Epic Games Store, so you can like download itch games just and launch them through the Epic Games Launcher. They basically threw itch under the bus and were talking about how there's like offensive and disgusting content on there or whatever, when they were basically just talking about like the fact that they host porn games on there. Which, it's not like you couldn't just like use like I think you said it earlier, Rose, where it's just like itch.io is just a website. You can type that in on, like your MacBook or on Safari on your iPhone and pull it up. It's basically the same thing.
But like everyone involved in this is like a humongous idiot. So it's just like they don't even know how to fight back against that. They just let them say it. Mm-hmm. And they go, yep, the whole thing is really stupid.
It is very stupid.
I liked the tweet. Like there was a thread from Addie Robinson, who works for The Verge, just like documenting everything like yesterday. And one of the tweets is, to recap, Apple's definition of a game: a beginning, an end, challenges. And I read that and I was like, Hamlet is a video game. Cooking an omelet, video game. Phone calls, video games. This is so stupid.
The Sanrio character Big Challenges is a video game because he has a beginning, a middle, and challenges.
Yeah.
They said that, like, Oregon Trail was an RPG. Sorry to cancel your bit. I was like, oh.
That's...
No, that was it for the bit. It was just like it was dumb.
Bit. That's just
it's just a bunch of like executives who don't know what the fuck they're doing, slap fighting in court, and none of them actually have like any experience being human beings, so they're just dumb and bad at this because all they know is make money. So it's hilarious. But it's also very sad because it's probably just going to end up being really bad for people who aren't making any money off of this, And
then they also throwing itch.io under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Really not fucking cool.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna learn how to fucking draw anatomy so then I can make the best-selling monster fucker game that has to eventually go through legislation, and I'm gonna make it every legislator and CEO's problem. It's my goal in life right now.
Just gonna do non-problematic Monster Girl quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. I'm bringing it up on here. You listening at home, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm talking about. Fuck you.
Cancel.
Yeah. Who cares? Well, yeah, there you go. It's bad. It's bad. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to questions, folks. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I'm good.
You good, Rose?
Yeah.
If you want to send in a question, go to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask. You'll sound like these fine folks right here. Shoeless asks, which Pokemon would you want to do a professional photo shoot with?
Does it have to just be one?
I'd say whatever. Just say what you want. Do what you want. It's not like Shoeless said one Pokemon. So, which Pokemon? Which ones?
Bisharp and Gardevoir. I've always liked those two together. They have like very similar design, but I also really fucking love Mega Gardevoir. So,
ooh, yeah, Mega Gardevoir is pretty cool. The big dress, it's very nice.
Fuck yeah. That's my answer.
I want to take like you know how there's always those pictures of like teenager photo shoots where it's like they turn 13 and then the mom made them like take a bunch of like badass pictures where they're like ripping apart a piece of paper that says 12 on it or whatever.
I
want to do that with Mewtwo. I want to have Mewtwo do like a badass emo kid photo shoot. It's just like I don't need to go to bed when you tell me to, Mom. Like that's what I want. Either that or just like one of those like really generic the like pictures that you would get taken at the mall with your family. I want to do that, but with like a mom and baby Kangaskhan, just like, like staring at the middle distance, wearing like Christmas sweaters. I'll do that. Yeah. How about you,
Nancy?
Pichu. Come on.
Well, yeah, Pichu. But what would the photo shoot be about?
Pichu. God, Boba.
Pichu out of
selfie Instagram
shop
influencer. Pichu.
My Gardevoir Bisharp idea was going to be like we could go to like a fancy like a mansion and do like the Bisharp's like a butler for the like, Gardevoir. Bunch of fucking regal ass poses and shit.
I like that.
I also like the idea of doing a professional photo shoot where it's just me and I'm just covered in Joltik. Fucking love Joltik.
Mm-hmm. Joltik is really cute.
Just a little guy.
Just little guys.
Little guy. I like it. And our second and last question is from Wheels, who says, what is the most extreme case of something happening in a game trailer or cutscene that you definitely cannot do / does not happen in the game itself?
God, there's so many. Honestly, that's kind of a problem I've had with some games in the past, where I have a good example, but that'll be my answer. Where like they'll show off the trailer for the game, and the trailer will be very cool, and then you get to that moment in the game where the trailer happens, and it's just not the same. I used to see it all the time with like Assassin's Creed trailers, but the one that really comes to mind is Watch Dogs 1.
Oh no, the infamous one, yeah.
Yeah.
So bad. Because that whole sequence where you go into like that nightclub is just completely different, and the guy you end up like in the trailer who ends up being murdered is just like it's like a one-off side quest thing in the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucked.
Do you have one, Rose?
Yeah, probably just the Heaven Sword cinematic trailer completely misrepresents what that game is about, I think. I don't even think it's intentional. I think it's just they rewrote that script.
Because
the cinematic took like years to make.
Because that trailer just features like a whole horde of dragons flying into Ishgard and attacking everything, and that doesn't happen.
It shows dragoons fighting. That doesn't happen. It shows Hraesvelgr attacking you. Doesn't happen. They show what was the biggest thing is they have a ton of Ul'dah stuff in there, and well, if you played Heavensward, the Ul'dah stuff gets resolved in like 3 quests.
Yeah,
and they make it like half the cinematic, and it's like, okay.
They do show Sid in an airship, and that does happen.
That does happen. You're right, but not through dragons.
Yeah. What about you, John?
For some reason, the first thing that came up to me is I just think about how you can't ride around on your on your shit in Devil May Cry 3. Well, then in Devil May Cry 5, they let you ride around on the rocket thing, so they just made up for it. So there you go. They fixed it. They fixed the problem.
They did.
You mean like on the rocket launcher?
I think so, yeah. Or can you do that?
Okay, because I was going to say, because you can ride on the enemies in Devil May Cry 3.
Yeah, I mean the rocket launcher.
Yeah, cool. I have a couple more that I just thought of.
Okay.
So, number 1 of all time also that we should think about is the Dead Island trailer that sucks so bad and ruined so much with its existence. It's just insanely funny to me to think about how that trailer is set up and what Dead Island is.
I think that trailer was so bad I just never even bothered with Dead Island as a series.
It's not a good series is the thing. It's really bad, actually. And it's also like incredibly like not what that trailer is at all. Like that trailer makes it look like The Last of Us or something.
Oh.
And the other one was the big one that got me that I just thought of because I was looking up like, for the video game trailers or whatever. Brutal Legend.
Oh yeah. Like they put out that demo and like in the game, right where the demo ends is where the game actually like changes genre basically, and that just like completely threw everybody off.
Yeah. I know I hated it because I was like, yeah, you know, at that time in my life, I liked metal music for some reason. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm all for this, whatever, jokey Double Fine humor. And then it's like, I'm not into doing RTS stuff though. Mm-hmm. Nice try.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this week's show. Thank you both for being on.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, sure.
And thank you for listening. Of course, if you want to keep up with all our shenanigans, we have our website, videogamechoochoo.com. We have our Twitter, @VGChoochoo. We have our Tumblr, videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/videogamechoochoo. And there's plenty of other places you can watch our stuff. We got a YouTube page. You just search up Video Game Choo Choo on YouTube, and it'll be there. You know, you don't have to do anything else. It's there. Our Twitch, twitch.tv/VGChoochoo. We've been doing more than we have usually, but it's still been a little inconsistent. We'll be doing streams whenever we do it. So, go ahead and follow or subscribe or whatever you want to do. I don't know what it is. There's so many terms on Twitch. I don't interact with Twitch that much. I don't watch live streams that often. So I don't fucking know. All right. Just do what you want with Twitch. It's fine. We'll go on it. We'll tweet about it. We'll Tumblr about it. We'll post it on the Discord server. You can watch it. But yeah, our Discord server is thegamezone.zone. You type that into your web browser. Brings you straight there. Come hang out with us. It's a great time in there. There's plenty of comedy and talking and jokes and riddles. It's great.
It's got a new redesign too.
Yeah, Elvie went in there and cleaned it up and added the channels to different formats and shit. We're actively arguing about where to place things right now. So, the VTuber channel was created during this recording. That's right. Because, it was kind of futzing about in the anime room. So now it is now it has been sequestered. Been quarantined, if you will. Patreon.com/VGCC. If you want to support us, it's $3 a month to get all of our content a week early. We're mostly just posting Unlimited Railworks. That is the new name for our anime podcast. Still trying to get a hang of it, but but that's still $1.50 per episode. Plus, you also get to vote on which anime we get to watch. You get to give us recommendations, and we pick off of the list. So, if you are a $3 patron, or if you're any form of patron, just send in an anime for us to watch, and we'll put it on the list. It won't be like the next one or anything, but it'll be on the list. We'll get around to it probably eventually. Not 100% guaranteed, but it'll be on the list. And of course, thank you to meltchannel/Magic Circuit for the theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com or magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. I guess they're done doing Bandcamp Friday, so just, buy their stuff whenever now. Stream it on Spotify. It's on Spotify too. It is still very weird because I do have our theme song on my Spotify rotation, so every once in a while that comes on and I'm just like, that's us. That's me. That's me and my friends. We do that. That's us. Rose, where can people find you?
Twitter.com @HornGal or @CurryDraco. CurryDraco on Twitch for VTuber stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
How about you, Spencer?
You can find me on Twitter @Solaire, like the Dark Souls character Hazard. All one word.
Mm-hmm. And you can find me @JOHN_MICHONSKI. It's my name. I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's a little too late now. I thought it made me look professional. And then I just post the kind of shit that I post. That's my own damn fault. But that's it. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. So long.